On NFL.com, this is the tiered rankings for quarterbacks in the past NFL season. So this is not future rankings. This is not their career. This is just last season.
How it was.
Okay, tier 1. Matthew Stafford at number 1. Josh Allen at 2. Dak Prescott at 3.
Yeah.
Drake May at 4. Justin Herbert 5. Trevor Lawrence at 6. That's tier 1. Anything stand out to you there?
It stands out to not.
I'm
not
a little
offended.
surprised that Dak Prescott is that high.
I'm not because I'm a ball knower. I'm a ball watcher. And
watcher. You said watcher, right?
And knower.
Okay.
And knower.
Just don't wash.
Nope. I watch. I watch with my eyes, and I know. And Dak Prescott had a year. He didn't have an MVP caliber year like he did a few years ago before the year he got injured.
He was good.
But he had a great, he had a great year. Not phenomenal, not MVP caliber year, but he was right there as like number 3 or 4. And I'm glad that NFL.com's Nick Shook also ball knower.
Okay, so we have Dak at number 3. Drake May, who is an MVP candidate for the regular season at 4, I would argue you can put Drake May in the first tier. That's fine. But Justin Herbert and I think Trevor Lawrence, with what they had better seasons. Statistically, May was incredible.
Well,
but
that's why Herbert got the MVP vote, because the argument is that he was more valuable because of the lack of offensive line, the 50 different offensive line combinations that Herbert had to go through, the fact that Trevor Lawrence had the horrible first half, the great second half, and bringing that team back, and the fact that the Jaguars made the playoffs and all that kind of stuff. So I think that the value conversation and the years that Herbert and Lawrence had, I would also put them in that tier. I would also argue that you could put someone else in that tier that's in tier 2.
Let's get to tier 2.
Maybe I'm biased, but that's okay.
Here's tier 2. Number 7, it's Sam Darnold. Number 8, Caleb Williams. Number 9, Jared Goff. 10, Joe Burrow. 11, Lamar Jackson. 12, Daniel Jones. And 13, Patrick Mahomes. Tier 2, Darnold, Williams, Goff, Burrow, Jackson, Jones, Mahomes.
I understand why Caleb is not in tier 1 and he's in tier 2.
You're going Homer? You're going right to the Caleb Williams?
I'm going right with the Homer.
Not Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, or Patrick Mahomes?
He's ranked higher than them right now. Okay, so I'm going in the order.
This has Caleb Williams as the 8th best quarterback last season.
I'm going in order. Okay, I'm doing what the list says to me. Okay, I'm not being a homer. I'm going in order. Okay. Sam Darnold had a very good year. I told you he was top 10 in yards and touchdowns the last 2 years. I could understand if the ranker here, Nick Shook wanted to put
NFL.com.
Nick Shook, if he wanted to put him in tier 1, I would have totally understood that. Top 10 in both yards and touchdowns. Now, he was also had the most giveaways this year.
Yeah, he did.
In interceptions and fumbles combined. So, Caleb Williams didn't have the best statistical year. But in terms of bringing his team back in the final 2 minutes of games, he did that more than any quarterback in the history of the NFL. Now, how do you rate that? How do you rate clutch? How do you rate that statistically? Obviously, it's worth the 8th best quarterback in the NFL in tier 2. So that's how Nick Shook of NFL.com chose to rate that.
I am a little surprised at the ranking. I'm in a positive light.
Yeah,
I'm surprised that there is someone watching football and reviewing the quarterbacks from last season who is definitively saying that Caleb Williams is a top 10 quarterback from last season. I'm surprised by that. I don't feel like the national media and most people around the country have picked up on that yet. That he is actually that good and he's living up to the billing of the number 1 pick.
Well, he didn't have 4,000 yards. He didn't have all the accolades and that kind of thing. But, you're right. Being a top 10 quarterback, especially being top 8 and in the top of tier 2, I think says something because of the heroics and bringing that team back every single week in and week out. More often than not. I mean, they did make the playoffs. They were a play away from going to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, I mean, I think a part of that conversation, which is surprising, is like there's definitely a name that if you just go based on the stats, I think that he's being kind of slept on here. And we'll get to that name in a second, but like Joe Burrow was 7th in quarterback rating this season, and he's below that position.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that in Lamar Jackson, by far, I mean, Lamar quarterback rating was 4th in the league. And here on this list, Lamar Jackson is sitting 11th. Joe Burrow is 10th. Okay, so that's tier 2.
Here's the problem, though. My problem with Joe Burrow and putting another guy on this list at this high is
the injuries.
Yeah, the fact that you've got Joe Burrow 10th and you've got Daniel Jones at 12. These guys only played half a season.
Right, but when they played, they were good. Like Daniel Jones had a great season when he was out there.
Yeah. They played half a season.
Here's tier 3. 14 is Jordan Love, 15 Brock Purdy, 16 Aaron Rodgers, 17 Baker Mayfield, 18 Bo Nix, 19 Jalen Hurts, 20 CJ Stroud. So the name that I think is being disrespected here on this list would be Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love, if you look at the stats, should be much higher than 14.
I agree with that. I think he should be high. I think he should be higher than the injured guys, at least.
Yeah, that's what I'm pointing to, is like Jordan Love, based on the statistics and the way the season went, he should probably be ahead of Burrow, ahead of Mahomes, ahead of Daniel Jones. If you want to make the case for ahead of Darnold or Caleb, I can't really say that you're wrong with that. I think where they placed him at 14 is a little low.
I agree with that. And especially the injured guys, he had a better year than Mahomes. Just look at the wins. I know it's a team game, but just look at the guys that win. Like, if you're telling me Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL or one of them, they should have won more games. And I know he didn't have a lot of help and the defense was bad, but like Mahomes should have won more games this year. Simple as that. Jordan Love won a lot more games. He should be higher, especially late in the season when it counts. Like, they won a lot of games, and he was really good late in the year, November, December. So I would have put him a lot higher than 14.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. Here's how the list kind of finishes up. So to kind of keep it in your mind in the different tiers. Tier 4, Bryce Young, Tyler Shook, Jackson Dart, Malik Willis, Mac Jones, Jacoby Brissett, Cam Ward, Kirk Cousins, Marcus Mariota, and then all of the guys who are either backups, fill-ins, or grandfathers.
Or JJ McCarthy.
They're in tier 5. Phillip Rivers and JJ McCarthy and Michael Penix and Kyler Murray.
McCarthy's a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, well, he's just a couple spots ahead of Phillip Rivers. So that's the list from NFL.com ranking the quarterbacks from this past season.
JJ McCarthy's 33rd. He played half the games this year.
Yeah.
Yet Joe Burrow, higher. Daniel Jones, higher. Also played half the games this year.
Well, there's players on the list that played full seasons, and they're lower.
I know.
So it's not just about the games that you played. It's what you did in those situations.